Good morning, students. This is the second video of the chapter Weavers, Iron Smelters and Factory Owners. And so far we discussed how the Britishers changed the Indian textile, or what was the challenges the Britishers were facing from the Indian textile. Now let us discuss more in this chapter. What was the condition of Indian weavers? Weavers specialized in weaving. Weavers were very specialized in weaving process. Then they passed their skills from one generation to the next generation. And we can understand many types of weavers communities were present in India at that time. Like Tanti community was there in Bengal. Julahas were there in North India. Similarly, Devangas in South India. So different types of weavers were there present in our country. They were weaving with their unique style, and they were well known for their different skills all over the world. We can easily understand, like here example is given that cotton was first spun into yarn. This was called spinning process, and this was mainly done by women. And the charkha, the takli were household spinning instruments that was used at the time. The thread was spun on the charkha and the rolled on the takli, and this is how a charkha is here. You can understand, you can see here how the charkha was used to woven the thread. And weaving was mostly done by men. So we can understand that two important processes was involved in the production of weaving, in the production of cotton textile. One was spinning, other was weaving. Now what was the condition of Indian weaver? We already discussed that skilled weavers were there in India, and for performing for producing the Indian textile, they were doing various activities. Like here you can see, for coloring the textile, the thread was dyed by a dyer known as rangrez. So different personnel were there for different activities. For printed cloth, the weavers needed the help of specialist block known as chippy-guards. So here we can understand that printing was also done on the white clothes, and it was done with the help of block of printing materials. It was known as chippy-guards. So we can easily understand different personnel were involved, like rangrez was there, chippy-guards were there, tanti was there, many different types of workers were there, weavers were there. They were performing different types of activities there. Similarly, handloom industry also provided livelihood for millions of Indians at that time. Now, over the time when the Britishers came, the Indian textile declined. I told you that India was number one in terms of production of textile and export of textile. But when the Britishers came, they adopted their own policy, and this is how the Indian textile declined. What was the reason? Let us discuss. The development of cotton industries in Britain affected textile producers in India in several ways. We need to understand, with the development of industrial revolution and with the development of cotton industries in Britain, our textile industry got affected, because now Indian textile now had to compete with British textile in the European and American markets, because the Britishers were using the machine, and with the help of machine they were able to produce cheap products or cheap textile. And that is why Indian textile were facing huge competition because of their cheaper price. Exporting textile to England became very increasingly difficult, as heavy duties were there. So it was not possible to export in the Britain because of the heavy import duty. At the beginning of the 19th century, English made cotton textile were preferred to Indian goods because of their cheaper price. Indian textile lost their market in Africa, America and Europe. So this is how, because of the tough competition, as the price was very low, the Indian market or Indian textile lost its market in different parts of the world. Thousands of weavers in India did not have any work. After that, many of the weavers became unemployed. They had no work. Bengal weavers were the worst hit. The workers or the weavers who were in the Bengal, they were mostly affected. England and European companies stopped buying Indian goods, and after that we all know that what was the condition, because they are producing by their own, so why they would buy from Indians. So during the 1830s, British cotton clothes flooded the Indian market. So India became market for them, and once we were exporting the ready-made clothes or textile to other parts of the world, soon we became importer of clothes. We started importing ready-made clothes from Britain. In the 1880s, two-thirds of the cotton clothes worn by Indians were made of clothes produced in Britain. We can understand, we became importer country of textile. We were the exporter country, now we became the importer country of textile. And this affected the entire textile industry or the local industry in India. Thousands of village women, they lost their jobs. Male also left the palace, and they moved to other parts of the cities. We need to understand at the same time, in the early 19th century, raw cotton was exported from the Bombay port to China and England. So, because of that, in 1854, the first cotton mill was established in India, and a spinning mill in Bombay. And thereafter, many new cotton mills were established in different parts of India, like Gujarat and Bombay. In 1861, a first mill in Ahmedabad was started, and in Kanpur, the first mill was started. So this is how cotton mills got revived after some time. And again, the mill workers in India got chance to do work in the cotton mills. Now, growth of cotton mills led to the demand for labor. Obviously, if the more and more mills were established, great demand for labor was there. So this is how thousands of poor peasants, artisans, agricultural laborers moved to cities to work in the mills. So we can understand one thing, that first of all, Britishers through their policies, they destroyed our traditional industries, textile industry, and after that they established Indian mills or cotton mills, in which the workers were compelled, or they were forced to migrate from village area towards the cities. So this is how the textile mills faced some problem initially. We need to understand it. Some problems were also there, because the mills found it difficult to compete with the cheap textile imported from Britain. But somehow we need to understand that we manage the competition. And the first major boost in the development of cotton factory production in India was during the First World War. During the First World War, textile import from Britain declined, and the Indian factories were called upon to produce clothes for military supplies. So we need to understand that during the First World War, the Britishers industries got affected, and Indians again got chance to revive. So this is how the Indian factories or mills came up to produce clothes for the military. You can see here textile mill rollers are there, and Mumbai textile mills are there. So both were producing. So this was the revival of the cotton industry, but we lost our traditional industry because of the British policy. This is all about in this video. Thank you so much.